holiday. Time is such a gift, try and control your destiny. We don't know the hour or the day. Unity is strength, stand as one without delay. Cause no bad vibe me a John. Me no want no bad vibe me a John. I just peace the times all around, yeah. No bad vibe me a John. No bad vibe me a chant. Say me no want no bad vibe me a chant. I just peace good time all around, yeah.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing today? Welcome to another episode of Deaf Taught Us How to Live. I'm your host, AVM Superhero, and this is Stroke Awareness Month. As you all know, in the month of May, we bring awareness to strokes, stroke survivors, what causes strokes, and also dealing with their recoveries. And today is not going to be any different. I have a great guest that's going to be on the show with us today. His name is Terence Michael Tomlin Sr. It's pretty interesting about this guy right here because our stories are very similar. And when I talked with him, I realized that his stroke was a day before mine on the same exact year. It's kind of ironic. And we went through a lot of the same things. So I want to bring him onto the screen to hear his story and allow you guys to ask questions pertaining stroke awareness, and how to move on after a stroke. So without any further ado, let me bring my friend Terence onto the screen. My friend Terence, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh man, can't complain at all. Can't complain at all. So I told people about you and listen a little bit, but I wanted from your own words who you are, what happened to you, the date that it happened to you, and then who you are today and why you're on Deaf Taught Us How to Live. So can you explain that to us, please, sir?
I am a professional chef. I've been a professional chef for a long time. I've been cooking since 1989.
Terrence, I think we lost you. I'm not sure. Guys out there in the comments, can you tell me if you guys could hear Terrence? Because I get a frozen screen with him right now. Is there anything coming through on you guys' end? Or is it just me?
Yeah. You got me?
You're back. So you
Okay.
froze for a second. So can you go back and tell us what everything about you, sir?
Yes, sir. My name is Terence Tomlin. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Um, in 2017, 11/26/17 to be exact, I had an ischemic stroke uh, that really put a whole new. It gave me a second birthday, to say the least. I was in one of the busiest days in the restaurant business, and I fell out. I fell out, and I really don't remember anything, but I do remember waking up and not being able to use my right side at all, and it was very depressing, very sad. All I ever did was cook since 1989, since I was 19, and I had to learn to survive. I had to learn how to cook with one hand all over again. And I live by a phrase, just I say it all the time. Today's the tomorrow you forgot yesterday. And it's been a long journey. I'm 7 years, 7.5 years stroke free, but I still watch what I eat, and I'm juicing and doing everything. And I just see things different now.
So Terrence, I'm sorry that this all happened to you. Um, you said a lot in a little bit of time, so let's dive into that. You was a
Okay.
professional chef, and you say you're still a chef today, but you
Yes.
you do it with one arm. Why are you doing it with one arm? What's going on with you? So are you saying that your part of your body you can't feel anymore?
I can feel it, but it does not work. It does not. It will not. react. My right side, I strengthened my leg enough so that I could walk, but my right hand has not worked since the day of the stroke. And
Okay.
I'm right-handed.
That's what I was about to ask you next. So you was right dominated, and you had a stroke that made you have that deficit on your right side. So now you had to
Yes, sir.
learn how to do everything with the weaker part of your body. So are you just a chef, or are you still a professional chef? Because I don't want you to be coy now. No, are you back in the field really, really throwing down, or is this just a hobby of yours?
No, I'm really in the field. Where I'm at now, here's the thing. My hand is so weak that I can't hold a knife with my right hand, but I learned how to do everything with my left. So I'm teaching, doing consulting, uh, especially young chefs that I know that are coming up in the game. I'm talking to them about always having a salad, eating the right way, so that they don't have to endure this kind of foolishness that I went through.
I'm understanding that. So you're teaching people, you're going back out there to make sure that, I guess, your talent is not being wasted. You want your talents to be rubbed off to on the future chefs out there in the world.
Yes.
Um, what made you come out of that place and say, you know what, I used to be a chef, I had everything that I wanted, and now I have to relearn how to do everything with my left arm, and I want to teach other people. What is that moment of death taught you how to live? What was that?
One day I was in the kitchen, and my brain was trying to rewire itself, and I'm trying to remember the things that I liked so much, and I wanted some spaghetti. So when I went to go open up a jar, I couldn't. But then I stuck it in the garbage disposal with the dish rag, and I was able to open it. And then I started learning about the things that I can do with one hand, and that made me want to teach other people that are going through the same thing that I'm going through how to do it.
Okay, okay, I get that. So, by the way, everybody, he had his stroke a day before mine, on the same actual year and everything. It's
I
pretty
didn't know
wild.
that.
But
I didn't know that.
I didn't know until you did the promo. Mine was the 27th of November of 2017. So it's wild
Yeah.
stuff. Um, so I know you're saying you had that aha
Mm,
moment, but I'm gonna be frank with you. You know, we had an interview
mm,
before, but I was like, I'm not sure if you're ready because you was in a very dark
yeah.
place, and then all of a sudden you came to me and said, "Hey, Greg, I am ready. I have done my work. I'm ready to do this." You know, can you explain to us what that place was that you was at, and then the work that you did to get out of that dark place?
I was in a dark place so far as my situation. I was abandoned while I was still in a wheelchair. I was angry at the world. I was angry that I couldn't get out there and do anything, that I couldn't be in any competitions, that I couldn't go anywhere. I wasn't being invited to all the things that I was doing to be active as a chef. Therapy. I have a really good therapist that taught me how to take that anger and soften it and be happy for what I have. I did a couple classes at Centera Hospital here in Norfolk. I mean here in the Hampton Roads, and I started to look around the room. The first class was like 30 people, and as I looked around, a lot of these people haven't smiled in years, and statistically, 87.5% of the people there were abandoned by their significant others. So I've learned to not look at what's wrong with me. Just be blessed and be happy for what I have. Now I'm happy. I'm happy to cook. I'm happy to help people out in the whole nine. I really I told a lady the other night. She was like, why are you helping me and doing it? I said, I want to help you the way that I should have been helped. That's about it.
Well, I'm gonna drill a little bit further into that. You was abandoned. 87.5. You
Yeah,
said people get
yeah.
abandoned, and I. I had the same type of situation. I wasn't abandoned, but I left my wife because I saw it was going really crazy in my household. I didn't want my children to grow up in that particular toxic environment, so I took myself out of it.
Right.
Um, then you said something that was very interesting. You said now you're happy. A lot of people can't see that other
No,
side.
they can't.
You know, they stuck in their stories. They stuck in whatever it is for people to feel compassionate for
Right.
them instead of moving
Right.
forward. What was that mechanism, that modality that you had that told you, say, okay, it will get better. You just got to constantly keep on working on this instead of saying your story. What was the whole thing? Because you're leaving out bits and pieces. Give me more, brother. Give me more.
All I can say is that really, my sister Tam, she started taking pictures of, because I do food photography. She started taking pictures and showing me what I used to make, and I had no recollection of things that I made. So I would make something, and she would take both of them and put them together as a reference, and she would say to me, "Look at this now, and look at it back then." And I found out that since I was cooking with my left hand, the food was coming out better. That was truly my aha moment. Like, wait a minute, I can still do this.
I get that. I really get that. So you basically had someone on your
Yeah,
team. We call it tribe.
yeah,
We had somebody that understood where you were and who you actually can
yeah,
be. Um, and once you saw that from that person's eyes, then you was like, okay, this is real. This person is not blowing up smoke up my, you
yeah,
know what? This person is really, really care about
yeah,
me. The person loves me, and they know how much I can actually do in this particular community of being a
yeah.
chef.
But
Okay,
it just took
so
on a new beast of itself. It just took on something different. Like
explain.
when I won the Maryland Foodie Fest, the seafood Maryland, I won the Foodie Fest in 2019 in Maryland at John Ripken Stadium in Baltimore. And there were plenty of restaurants there with top dog chefs. They had on chef coats with all kinds of bells and whistles, and they were crab caking it to death. And I showed up with a juicer and a blender and my sous chef at the time. And I can't believe it. To this day, I look at the plaque, I look at the cutting board that they gave me. I can't believe that we won. I won to this day. And when you hear a crowd clapping for you, and you still have sensitivity issues, um, it took me a while to get over that. Like, what just happened? And that's when I realized that food has become my savior. It can kill you if you don't do right by it, but it did good by me because it helped my career. I put it like this: if I would have never had a stroke, I wouldn't be where I am right now, and that is the God's honest truth.
You know what? I feel the same
You feel
exact
that way,
way.
right?
I, yeah, I didn't have the same profession in you, but I was successful in my field. I was making good money. I was traveling all over the
Mm,
world. At that time, my wife didn't have to work. I had two children at home, and we lived good,
mm,
but I wasn't
right.
happy. So after my stroke, and I came out of that "woe was me"
Yeah.
moment, I really found my purpose. It's like I don't want to say it and people take it the wrong way, but honestly, besides having my kids, the stroke was the best thing that ever
And
happened to me.
people don't get that. I have a book that's not released that's called A Beautiful Stroke. And I go through chapters of everything that happened to me in my life and talk about, towards the end of the book, I talk about uh, what's changed me. If I didn't have the stroke and when I got over the woe was me moment, um, things have been a whole lot better. It's almost like you gain a superpower, like you can see through people. It's hard to explain. It's just that when I was in the hospital for 6 weeks, if it was, I looked outside. It was during the wintertime. I looked outside. I was like, I'm never going to be able to get out here again because people in the hospital were dying. And the one thing has been my saving grace is music, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and um, and just good, honest people and real good food. I concentrate on all those and keep my circle real tight, and I'm gonna be all right. And my kids,
I,
my
I really,
children.
I really get that because what you're saying to me is the same thing that I went through. Oh, when we hear this particular sound, that means we have some comments out there. So I want to make sure we get those addressed out there. So people want to ask you
Okay.
questions. So let's get these questions answered, and I'll get back to my thoughts. So, producer, can you put it on the screen? What we have? First question. Hello, producer. I guess she won't show it. I'll show it. Donna Dunkley is asking a question. Awesome for you to help others. You just doing to others as you would love them to do for you. Happy to know you are moving on with your life. You are blessed.
Wow. Thank you, Miss Donna.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm talking about right now. We just answered her question. That's exactly what I'm talking about right now. We see things in a different light, and a lot of people don't see it. So we are very blessed. Like Donna said, we are blessed, but it's more than she probably even
Right.
understands. When we find people that take us for who we are right
Mm.
now, not what we used to be, but tell us that we can be much more, much greater and believe in us, that helps us out with our recovery.
It certainly does.
And what you were saying earlier about, how a lot of things bother you when people talk real loud, it claps and applause. That doesn't really resonate with you because it's more of a nuisance because your brain is trying to register that in. But you found a way that instead of it just completely throwing you
Mm.
off, you embrace it. I appreciate that you actually said that. But I brought that up because I want you to tell the audience how it does feel when people argue with you and you're in a situation and you cannot articulate yourself. What is that like for you, and how can you actually tell people out there that they shouldn't do things like that with a person that had a stroke or brain injury?
When somebody has a stroke, a person, no matter if they had TBI or hemorrhagic, or you shouldn't. You know what? I'll tell you this happened. I did a party not too long ago. I helped with the party, and I had my sling on, and I was sitting down trying to prep. And the guy looked over at me. That was the host, and he said, "What happened to you?" Real loud. So I called him over. I said, "Hey, do me a favor." I said, "When you see somebody who might be disabled, you shouldn't ask out loud like that." Instead of him arguing with me, he humbled himself. He said, "I'm so sorry." I said, "I'm pretty sure you got some older people in your house. I said, they probably had strokes and heart attacks and things like that. If anything, what it's done for me is help people have a teachable moment if they are teachable. And if somebody comes at me and they want to argue and this and that, I'm so different now that I sit back and I assess everything they talk about, and I sympathize with them. I empathize with them about what it is that they're upset about, and I'm able to talk and articulate what the problem is. I give out instructions like, let's talk about it. Let's take the emotion out of it so that we can understand each other clearer. And it works. And it's a working process, but it's been working for me so far.
Yeah, I hear that, but that's difficult. That is extremely
Oh,
difficult.
it's real difficult.
So what happened with me, and I don't know if you could relate to this or not. When I had my stroke and I knew I was going to live,
Mm.
I was upset that I was going to live. And the only reason why I was upset is because I knew I had to come back to a world with people that didn't take accountability for their actions. They want to argue their point to tooth and nail, even though they know they're wrong. And they still do that with me now. And they know that I have mental issues, not mental issues, but I have cognitive issues from my stroke. So that makes me get upset. That makes me get angry. And I'm trying to explain to them. And I realize they don't really want to listen to me. They just want to argue. How do you get around
I
that?
stopped being upset about people like that because I had a few in my life. I learned from a very, very, very close friend of mine that accountability correlates with shame. And once I'm able to see that, how they'll keep making excuses for their behavior. I go, okay, you don't want me to shame you, because to hold you accountable is almost to shame you. That's why I believe in young people being held accountable, and you don't have to feel no kind of way.
Okay, how does that look? I'm really curious about it because this is what I have this type of problem. How does that look for you? Like when you see those things and you try to keep people accountable. I know when I do that,
Mm-hmm.
I get people to tell me that I'm being mean.
Yeah, I get that too.
Or
That's a cop out.
yeah, I'm being mean. You're not being. You're too insensitive.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
insensitive. I'm just listening to exactly what you're telling me, and I'm responding accordingly because I don't think you are even listening to what you're saying. You're just trying to argue with me.
But
Maybe you have some traumas that you haven't dealt with. How do you deal
the
with
way
that?
I deal with it is because I always got a lot of food around me. So I'll do something like hey, cook that pasta, but make sure you keep it do it under a minute and a half, and making sure it's cooked 2 minutes and a half, and make sure you cool it down, or it's gonna expand and get bigger. And then I say, did you hear what I just said? Yes, chef. Okay, say it again. Say it with me. Okay, that's what you're gonna do. Okay, I'm not gonna stand over you. Go ahead and do it. Next thing I know, they overcooked the pasta. What happened? I don't know. It's the pasta. It's the pasta, or is it you? Am I being mean? Did I give you instructions? Did I give you clear and concise instructions on what to do? You know what? Let's do it again until they start to learn. I teach people how to
So
cook
you
with their
have
hands.
patience.
Yeah, I've learned patience. I teach people how to cook with their hands so that their brain doesn't forget. And besides the people that are close to me in the kitchen, uh, I cook with one hand so they don't have any excuse. If you got two hands,
You,
you have no excuse.
you know what? You it's not a bad thing, but you're triggering something in me. You're saying things like you're showing people like, hey, I had a stroke. I'm doing it with my non-dominant
Yeah.
hand. What's your
Yeah, what's your
excuse?
excuse?
What's your
When
excuse?
I realized that, when you talk about aha moments,
Yeah.
when I realized that, I said, you can say whatever you want to say. You can say anything you want to say. You try to cook with one hand. I've even had people, I say, look, put your hand in your pocket. I need you to knock this food out. Nine courses, 15 people. Let's go. After the first one, I'm like, I can't. Yes, you can. Don't say you can't. You can. Yes, you can. I did. You can too. When I won the Maryland Seafood Award, people were, the hate was being thrown. One guy told one of the judges, "You only gave it to him because he's handicapped." Somebody else said my dish looked like trash. All that, but there were judges, seasoned judges with advanced palates that were like, "This is good," and you did this with one hand, and I still do it with one hand. And I think I'm going to be doing it with one hand for the rest of my life. I'm scared. Look, I'm scared for the other hand to come back. I'll be like, who are you? Who sent you?
So basically, and like I said, you're being a little bit coy. Once you also, you do work with other people, celebrities and things, and being chefs for them too. Am I right with that?
Kind of. Just, keep it.
Well, yeah, but it's not that you're just cooking. You really cooking. People really believe in what you do.
Yeah.
So it's not just like people being, oh man, I just want to make sure this person feels good. No. You're really doing the work.
Yeah, really doing.
So that's why I want people to understand that this is not just some kind of gimmick.
No.
Like, you're not playing games with this. You really are doing the work. You're trying your best to do the things that you don't have capable anymore. Like you said, you open up cans with your teeth because you can't do it with your hand. Because just imagine just trying to use a can opener. You can't hold a can and use a can opener at the same time. So how are you going to do it?
That was a great moment.
Speak on it.
I was at a gig at a person's house, and they wanted some cornbread, and it was Christmas, and the provisions that were put away, I wanted the can. I was looking for the can that has the ring on it that you can open, and it wasn't there. And I only had like an hour to go, and I made cornbread with real corn, but December you don't have any fresh corn, so I grabbed the that can opener, and I grabbed it with my teeth, and I slowly did it back and forth. And I opened it up, and I was blown away. I also made a rap, made a rap with one hand too. So every accomplishment is a really big deal.
That's what I'm talking about. See, no excuses, no time to play games. Just get the thing done, no matter what it is. So that's why I'm trying to tell you guys, as stroke survivors, people that are disabled, you can't do the things that you used to do before. We get it. We've been there. Like, I used to play basketball. I can't play basketball anymore. I used to try to blame it on my age. Well, it's not my age. I can't do it anymore. I used to be able to do different things. I can't do those things anymore. But what can I do with what I have right now? Yes, that is the thing that you have to answer. We have another question that came up. So I'm gonna bring that up on the screen. Maybe it's a question, it's a comment, I'm not sure yet. So producer, can you bring it on the screen? And we will actually talk about it right now. Must I understand that strokes have transformed you for the better? So the question is.
The question is what?
Has a stroke transformed you to be a better person?
Therapy has helped. It's helped me be a better person because. So okay, I'll give you an example. Like today, I was in a grocery store. I've been juicing for about a year, but I slacked off. I'm starting to do it again. And I was looking through the kale, and I looked up top, and I saw in the produce section there was some celery root. So I grabbed a piece because I have a dinner coming up. And the lady said, "Honey, do you need some help?" I said, "No, ma'am." I said, "Thank you very much." I said, I kind of had to learn how to do this. And she said, "What's that?" I said, "Celery root." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "This is the root that the celery comes out of." So we strike up a conversation. Before I stayed to myself, I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was mad at the world. We struck up a conversation, and she's booking a dinner for the next month. So it's
That's what I'm talking about, brother. That's what I'm talking about right there. Your life is completely transformed because of you being authentic, being yourself.
You being,
there's nothing hiding. They're coming to you.
Self. It's like, I'm from Connecticut, but I lived in D.C., Maryland, D.C. for 17 years. And whenever we would get boxes of produce, it always says Hampton Roads on it. So I really started to study the Chesapeake and the fish that come through when the soft shells come, all kinds of things. So this area that I'm in is so bountiful with food. We have a supper club that we do once. We try to do it once a month, but we do it every 2 months. And we invite people to somebody's house, and nobody knows each other. And we sit there and we put out the food and the courses and talk to them, and There's stuff that people never tried before. People never tried Wagyu oxtails, pasta. People never tried uh, pineapple and cucumber sorbet. So again, the stroke has opened up my mind. I have to say, if I never had it, I don't think I would be as far. I wouldn't be able to even think like this. Like when this is over, I'm going to make something. I just don't know what.
I completely get it. I completely get it, and I understand what you're saying. I want to get back to the point about how you are just living your life and you're not making any excuses. And when I was saying that, I was triggered by it because that's what motivates me to do what I do right now. And I hope my daughters are
Mm.
watching. I do this because I want to make sure that when they do find a mate that they're gonna spend the rest of their
Yeah.
life with, and then he comes and say to her, I can't do it. This is rough. This is too hard. I want them to be able to say, well, my dad had a stroke. My dad wasn't able to work. My dad didn't have anything. He was living on couches. He had everything taken
Yeah.
away from him, but he still did what he had to do. He didn't make
Yeah.
excuses.
So when they
So
have a
that
mate,
motivates
yeah.
me each and every
Yeah.
day.
I know
So I feel
guys
you.
like me, I had to get life, you know, sometimes life has to breathe life into you. And my son, my oldest son, Terry Jr., he's married and he had a baby. I have a younger son that's 22. But seeing my grandson, it makes me just want to do better and better and better. Seeing that grandchild, it's incredible. And I encourage him. He's a health nut. He's a bodybuilder anyway, so I don't have to worry about that. But I still talk to him about doing well. And sometimes I feel like I'm not minding my business because I was in the store earlier and I was looking through the seafood. I saw some cod. I said, I'll do something good with the cod. And I saw this lady that said, she said, what kind of fish is that? I said, it's flounder. Ooh, was that good fried? I said, yeah, that's good fried. But you know what? Why don't you try to grill it or bake it? Oh, I can't do that. Ma'am, you can't? I mean, just say you don't want to. Grill it, bake it, save yourself. Like the stroke showed me that I am responsible for me. I can't, I don't have money to have somebody, give me this food and this food and this and that. I have to do it all myself. And that's what it took. That's the opportunity to save myself. So
When we was
things aren't
talking
like
off
they.
camera,
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The things aren't like they used to be. I used to sing in a band, a big band called the Mighty Herd, and I still write. Um, that's the only thing I'm struggling with right now. Like I feel like I lost a lot of my voice um, after the stroke, so I just hired a voice trainer, and I just want to be able to put some stuff out. One of
You
my
stop
best,
making excuses. You made resolutions. If you
right,
can't do this, what can be helped so I can get better?
right. So did hire a voice trainer so I can start going there and do it again. Then I could get back to Maryland so we get some recording done. But I have to.
I want to switch speeds a little bit. You
Okay.
said something to me off camera when we was talking earlier
Mm.
about you stop saying these stories about yourself, about these bad things about happening to you. Or
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Can you explain to the people out there? Because I think that is more of the aha moment that people are not recognizing. Because I'm seeing people even in this chat on Instagram saying, I'm still in that dark place. What I have noticed is that I needed to stop saying those stories. And I'm glad that you brought that up to me. Can you explain to the audience what you mean by stop saying those stories and putting yourself in that dark place?
You should stop telling people what you've been through. I'm sorry I gotta say it like this, but unless they really love you, nobody cares. That's just me. Okay, maybe people do care, but you got to put yourself out, and you'll be proud of yourself because it's you that had the stroke. You know, it was you that wasn't eating right. It was you that was stressed out. Nobody's coming to save you. You got to save yourself. Even if you were a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, nobody's coming to save you at all. It's up to you for
Man,
right diet and right kind of mental health.
you're really touching
Huh?
something on that. You said two things that I want to talk about a little bit more. You said nobody's coming to save you. We might debate that. People
No,
might debate that and say, God will save you. We're not talking about that. We're talking about I don't care how much money
right,
you have. I don't care how healthy you think you are. If you don't put the mindset in, if you don't put the work in, it's not going to work. It's like saying,
it will not.
I'm a stupid person and you want to be smart. If you keep on telling yourself that you're stupid, then most likely you're not going to become smart. If you keep on saying, I
Right,
cannot do this, I cannot do this, how is that going to change your body to actually do the thing that you really want to do, but you keep on saying negativity to yourself?
right, and you're not speaking it out loud. It's not going to happen. You're not gonna be able to pull it off because you got to remember your brain. If you lost any extremities, I can speak to that. If you have drop foot or whatever, your brain is like my neurologist told me it's like everything has to be rewired. But if you be positive, it'll be rewired for the better. Yeah, I miss a lot of stuff. I miss driving. I miss dancing. I miss a lot of stuff. But when I was in the hospital for 6 weeks, a lot of people didn't make it out of there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to
Matter of
switch the
fact,
subject just a little bit, then I'm
if
going to get to
somebody
my
would
hot seat
pass,
questions.
they would close my door.
Hold on. I get that. I get that. I had this person that was asking me these questions. This older man. He was with his wife, and his wife died, and he was taking care of his wife for many years. And then after she died, he didn't know what to do with
Right.
himself. And he kept on saying, should I go out and date? Will my wife be upset? I'm like, she's dead. I don't know how she's going to be upset with you. And then
Right.
I really had to put it down to him. I was like, you know what? Why are you telling me? And this is an older man now. He's probably like 30 years my senior. And I'm saying to him, why are you telling me this? You want me to feel sad for you?
Right.
I can feel sad for you. But the moment I leave out of this room, those thoughts about being sad for you is gone. I'm thinking about the rest of my life while you're
That's
still
it.
being sad.
Yep.
So you need to change your mentality from being woe is me to complaining to people all the time to like move forward. Just like if you're a smoker and you say I want to stop smoking, you don't tell people that you're a smoker. You just say I used to smoke. If you keep on
Yeah.
saying that, eventually your mind's gonna come to the point of like I don't need to smoke no more. I don't smoke, and you won't smoke anymore. It's really like that. It's mentally you have to transform your thoughts to move forward.
Completely. Last time I had a cigarette was the day of the stroke.
Mm.
It's been 2,100. It's been 2,197 days.
Good for you,
So that,
brother. That's a great thing, and people don't understand how hard that is. But Terrence, we are at the time that we start winding down to close out the show. But before we
okay.
close out the show, there's a couple of things that I would like for you to do.
Okay.
One is what's called our hot seat questions, where I ask you questions, and then I give you about 30 seconds to respond to each question that I ask. Then after that,
Okay.
I'm gonna have you close out the
Okay.
show to tell the people how they could find you, what information you have for them, and that things like that nature. So, Terrence, I see you just fidgeting all over the place. You just can't sit
Okay.
still anymore, huh? Are you ready for your hot seat questions, sir?
No, sorry about that, man.
Are you ready for your hot seat questions?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm ready.
All right, let's get started.
Yes.
So, producer, can you bring my hot seat questions onto the screen? Question number 1, sir. Did you feel inadequate as a man after your stroke?
Yes. Erectile dysfunction. Uh, couldn't open up a can, a jar, a bottle. Get fatigued in the grocery store. Always have to be in the cart. Bad crying spells. But I got through it.
Got you, brother. Question number 2. Why is getting mental help considered being weak, especially in the Black community?
I thought it was. I thought it was like, oh, you crazy. You got to take therapy. Therapists I have asked me everything about my life. It took a week for me to break down to her everything that I did. After that, I was ready to. She was able to go back and take notes. She was able to go back to the notes and tell me why I was doing the things that I was doing. I recommend, especially after a stroke, especially after you're shaking up, that you're still alive. You have the opportunity to find out what was wrong. You could break habits.
Exactly. That's what it is. It's habits, and we're so conditioned that we want to keep those habits. People don't understand that making great change and great strides, it hurts. It's easy to do the
Mm-hmm.
things that you're used to doing, even though they were bad. It feels comfortable, but change always
Yes,
hurts. All right. Thank you,
yes.
sir. Question number 3. Question number 3 is having a stroke a blessing or a curse? I know we talked about it before, but I want you to break it down for me now.
It's a blessing. It's a painful, painful blessing. It's a blessing because I can see through people better than I could before. I can assess situations, look at what happened before to see about what's going to happen now. Some people call that a third eye, that you can see what's going to happen before it even happens. It is, and it might sound crazy to other survivors, but if you heal yourself the right way, you'll find out to you.
You know what? It's like having a near-death experience is is something that I wish everybody could go through, but don't
Oh
really want them
man,
to go through because I want them to
I
understand what we
do.
see.
No,
I
I
want them to
do. I
see what
do.
we see. We see
Yes,
things completely different than the way they see it,
yes.
and it's weird. Like I don't know how to explain it to people. Like I tell people to live their life. Death taught us how to live. We moving forward, not staying in the same spot. We're not making excuses. I am an advocate to do whatever you want to do in this lifetime before you're in a deathbed and you can't do anything else. I've been in a deathbed that I
Ugh.
couldn't move, I couldn't walk, I couldn't swallow, I couldn't do anything. And I said, if I get out this bed, it is no way in earth that I'm going to not do the things that I want to do before I get back into this bed again.
Right,
So
right.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Question number 4, and our final question is this: how did death teach you how to live?
My sons. I was saying to myself, if together, I'm going to be back in a position where I wouldn't have a chance to say goodbye to them. That's the biggest thing that hurt me was how am I going to be here for them? How am I going to be here for them? Not that they're babies, they're adults, but they still need their dad. I told my older son, I don't care how old you get, you're still my child. I told my younger one that too. Being in that hospital, had to have somebody wash you up. Just like all my dignity was just gone. Not being able to add numbers anymore, not being able to get dressed. So now I find different ways to do different things. So being close to death did teach me how to live like I am right now. Actually spreading joy to some people and showing them a different way. And showing them that it's not over.
I get that.
As well as myself.
I get that. But you just said something that I think probably 95% of the people that have not gone through this don't understand. Someone has to get up and bathe you, wipe your
They'll never
butt.
get it.
And you have to really sit there and take that as a grown man that you can't do that anymore. And you have some young lady or young man cleaning you. And you're like, this is degrading. And I'm worrying about
It is.
you not liking me. That's the last thing I'm worried about as
Yes.
a person doesn't like me anymore. I don't care.
The
I'm
last
living
thing.
my life. I'm done
Exactly.
living for other people.
Right.
Terance, I thank you so much for coming on for Deaf Taught Us How to Live. I really appreciate you sharing your story, being transparent with us, and giving us all the information that you possibly can give us as a stroke survivor, as a chef, as a competitor, as a teacher, as a grandparent, as you said. But at this particular time, I'm going to close off the show, and I'm going to allow you to close it out. So please, can you give our audience some words of motivation, some food for thought, so they can actually live a more productive life? The show is yours, sir.
So all the stroke survivors that are on here and around the world, a stroke, whether you believe it or not, it's actually a blessing because it gives you a chance to press the restart button. I said at the beginning of the show, today's the tomorrow you forgot yesterday. I'll say it again. Today is the tomorrow you forgot yesterday. You owe yourself and you owe your family, you owe your children the opportunity to see you go through it and get better. My best friend gave a great compliment and said, yeah, I made a strong comeback. Everybody loves to come back. Be that comeback. You can reach me on Instagram at Terence Tomlin 7, and that's TerenceTomlin. You can reach me on Facebook, Terence Michael Tomlin Sr., and Instagram, the same thing, Terence Michael Tomlin Sr., TerenceTomlin. I thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you people. And thank you for your questions. And thank you, Brother Greg, for the opportunity.